You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day. Or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help.
The FHN network is sponsored in part by Hoddle Services. If you're looking for a disc jockey, karaoke host, video jockey to videographer, our company can help. With over 20 years of experience, we would be happy to help with your special event within Ontario, Canada. You can contact us at 226-988-2895 or visit us at our website at hoddleservices.vpweb.ca. That's HODDLE Services. We look forward to hearing from you and helping with your special event.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Season 2, Episode 16 of Off the Puck Hockey on the FHN Network and AST Productions out west. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and you can catch Off the Puck on Rogers TV Channel 20 every Saturday night, 9 p.m. You can also view our live recordings right here, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Just follow at Off the Puck Hockey for dates and times to check us out. Leafs clinch a playoff spot. McDavid gets to 100 points in 52 games, which is crazy. Tortorella and Tocchet part ways from their respective clubs. And Tom Wilson, we got to talk about should he have been suspended or not. We haven't had a chance to go over it, but we're definitely going to speak about it here today. A lot going on in the NHL. But tonight I'd like to welcome our host, as always. Welcome back, Part-Time Styles, and Mr. Mike Walker. What's going on?
Hey, Finesy. Thanks for having me back. I can't see Styles on my screen, but I know he's around somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like he's having some connection issues. I was just kind of giving Port Dover Internet a little bit of a plug. We got to get some internet service down there to make it run a little bit better. What do you think?
Yeah, we need something. I mean, I've been running off of my data on my phone just so that way it's clear for me anyway. So.
Oh man, he's got to figure it out some way, somehow, but we will eventually. But let's get right into it. We've got a great guest tonight. I'm really excited about this one. I know Adam is. He's got about 10 pages of questions, but we only got 58 minutes, so we're going to try to, like I said, keep them to about 8 or 9 pages of questions. Tonight's guest played 407 games in the NHL as a highly regarded goaltender, spent over 20 years in the professional ranks, scouting, goaltending coach, most recently with the Ottawa Senators until 2015. I want to welcome to the show from Port Dover, Mr. Rick Wamsley. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, Tyler, and thanks for having me.
Listen, I'm really excited to have you on. I've got so many questions, and a lot of them actually have nothing to do with hockey. It's like, well, it does, but it's more just the evolution, because I'm really intrigued with the 70s to mid 90s players, but not just the players, but the equipment changes, not just players, but players and goaltenders went through, and you must have been a part of that. But I want to touch on that a bit later, Rick. I just wanted to kind of find out what you're doing now. Are you still involved in the game, or are you living the good life?
Mostly living the good life. I did a little bit of work with the OHL as a league goalie mentor to the league goalie coaches. So I took them under my wings and did some work with them through video and different clinics, and just passed on any knowledge that I have to them to hopefully further their careers as a goalie coach and keep the quality of goaltending at the OHL at a high level.
Yeah, one of my good friends who we hope to get on the show sometime is Chris Beckford Sue, and he's the goalie coach for the Mississauga Steelheads. I don't know if you ever ran into Chris along the way.
I coached Chris a little bit in St. Louis. We crossed paths with the Blues, and yes, I've had some dealings with him as the goalie coach with the Steelheads also.
All right, so then you know what? He's probably not going to see this, so I'm asking: was Chris a good goalie?
He's a very, very good goalie. Oh, very good goalie. I mean, if you look at the NHL as it sits today, so there's going to be 32 teams. That means you got to be one of the top 64 goalies in the world, right? The best 64 play. And then below that, they need another 64 in the minors. So if you're in the mix in that 128, doing some quick math, you're one of the 128 best at what you do in the world. So you're good.
That's a good point. Styles, were you 128 best in the world as a goalie?
No, it's 129, just shy, man.
Welcome back, my friend. Anyways, what's going on, Styles? How you doing?
Not bad. Yeah, long story short, just the connection thing. I didn't have it go, so I had to give her the reboot. But sorry about that. I apologize. And how you doing, Rick?
I'm doing very good, Adam. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Excited to have you.
Where's the Wamsley jersey in the background? I don't see it.
I was waiting for it signed to come in the mail.
You got to get one to get signed.
Yeah. Very, very true.
Well, you don't have one you can just give them away, like something that's worth some value to you.
Yeah, not very expensive.
Right? All right, yeah. So I'll jump right into it. So, what age did you become a goalie in Dover?
Grade 3, Mrs. Talbot's
Grade
room.
3.
Fort Dover Public
Really?
School. I played out my first year as a 7-year-old and scored 2 goals. So I don't know if that was an indication on my ability as a forward. But the next year, Fort Dover started their type program where we played half ice at a time that was like Fort Dover minor hockey was ahead of the time for putting little kids on half ice. And Mr. Barker was my coach, and I went early to the rink one day, and as soon as he walked in, I begged him to let me play net that day. And after the game, I must have had a good game because he said, "It's okay, you can be the goalie for the rest of the year." And I've been in net ever since.
Yeah, you should probably talk to the GTHL about maybe put on a presentation about why half ice is so important at the young age.
Yeah, it's really you look at what Austin Matthews did in Phoenix on small ice and the player he becomes. I'm not saying every kid that plays on small ice is going to end up like Austin Matthews, but if you can stick handle in a phone booth, then you can stick handle on a NHL size rink.
Sure.
Absolutely. And then you made the jump from Dover to Simcoe. What made you do that jump?
My parents moved, and I went with them. It was
a situation at 8 years old.
Yeah, it was that simple. I was in my last year.
Yeah, I just didn't know for the higher level. Or...
No, God, no. I was back then. Port Dover would regularly beat Simcoe just with the numbers, so it wasn't like I was jumping from. I think Dover at the time was C, and ended up playing Hub League in Simcoe, and they might have been A, but there really wasn't a lot of difference.
I love it.
I just want to touch in quick here. Adam hasn't really had a chance to bring it up, Rick, but find you there's an award in Dover Minor Hockey, the Rick Wamsley Award. And Adam won that 3 times for top goalie of minor hockey.
There it is right there, boys.
There he is.
Look at that good-looking, good-looking kid. Way more hair, too.
Congratulations, yeah.
Congratulations. That's the best trophy ever won.
I'll find you, tell you, blocked a lot of shots back then.
What is the Rick Wamsley Trophy in Dover? What's obviously best goaltender award, or
it's like the most? I believe it's the most valuable goalie of the rep team. So of all the rep teams, goalie most valuable to his team amongst the rep team. So they wanted to do something to I don't know, recognize my contributions or my origins, I guess, where I came from. And I was more than happy to oblige, and it's quite an honor, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
honor to win it 3 times.
Yeah, just being a Dover boy, everybody's got a nickname growing up. What was yours?
I left before I got one. So my brothers, all my brothers have them. All my friends have them. I don't have one. wasn't there long enough to get indoctored with one or go through the process of having one. So when I went to Simcoe, it was in halfway through grade 9. So I don't know when nicknames officially become nicknames, but it was early for me, I guess.
Listen, I know we're going to touch on all the NHL career you had. I'm really excited to talk about the Stanley Cup, and I know Styles is going to ask about that. But I need to get into it early. I want to talk about just the revolution of the goalie position in general. One of the things that I've always found curious is the argument, especially nowadays with Connor McDavid putting up 100 points in the modern day era, and how, the goalie position has changed from a skill perspective. What made a really good goalie back in your day? Like what differentiated you between, maybe the next 5 guys below you?
What I believe is hands and ability to read the game. So the equipment that we wore was compared to today's goalies is archaic at best. So it was heavier, it was less protective, it absorbed more sweat or water or both. And if the puck hit your body, it hurt. So we learned to trap, we learned to catch, we learned to deflect, we learned to absorb in areas where it didn't hurt as much. Where today's goalie, they're more protective. They're willing, or they're able to take pucks in a more vulnerable area. It doesn't hurt them as much, if at all. So I think yesterday's goalies had really their hand-eye. They had to use their hand-eye more than today's goalies do.
Now, now when you were young, did you wear a helmet? And again, I don't know the history of the helmet exactly, like for young kids. Like, was there a time when you never wore one, or did you wear one your whole life?
So I can remember when I was playing forward that one year when I was 7 in grade 2, I remember watching games at the old Port Dover Arena, and some minor hockey goalies wore helmets, just a helmet, just like the old Cooper SK10, whatever that was, right? The 3-piece helmet, that's all he had on. And then the next year, I believe the bird cage came in. So he wore like a back catcher's mask. It was just a wire mask, no helmet. So the goalies wore just a bird cage in front of their eyes, and that was it. And then slowly the bird cage evolved into a bird cage and a 2-piece helmet. Then at some point when I was in Bantam, I bought my Cooper mask at Schultz's hardware store, where now you can buy tickets for the Lighthouse Festival. I used to be a hardware store. I bought my Cooper mask in there for $7. I wore that in rep hockey, with the 2-piece helmet on top, and then the Jock Plant mask came in. They came in, then they were illegal, and then they were allowed back in. So it's really evolved from just a helmet to kind of what you see today.
Yeah, and we'll sure we'll talk about that. The one thing that I want to know is, when did the design of the modern day mask, because you did have one when you were in Calgary, when did that come into play? And when they brought it in, did you think this thing was like crazy? Like, I'm not wearing that. Like, I'm wearing this.
No, it was my first year junior, which would have been 1975. I wore a Jock Plant. I don't know if I'm dating myself by saying Jock Plant, but it was a fiberglass mask with just eye holes, right? So no cage. And then during that time, Tony Esposito put bars on his mask, right? So that was kind of the idea. And then when Greg Harrison came out with, I think Billy Smith might have been the first one to wear it. somewhere around 78, 79, maybe 77, 78, where you see the fiberglass mast with the bars, steel bars. I think they came out around that time. Once they came out, that was just way too much sense, and everybody went to it. So.
It's awesome. Oh, it's so cool. That's the one thing about goalie equipment I absolutely love is just seeing the transition, especially in your era. Like I would just feel like it's almost like going from the wood stick to the aluminum stick when that happened, right? It's a complete revolutionary change, and you have to get used to it.
The biggest change in equipment when you went from leather toe straps to no toe straps. That's right. That allows today's goalie to look like everybody's got the best butterflies. So when the way the pad's allowed to float on your toe and on your shin, and all your pads have those nice 6-inch landing pads on the inside of your knees, which we didn't have, would have saved me numerous MCL injuries for sure. But in behind the pad, it looks like everybody's flexibility is excellent, but really it's not. Where in my era, if you wanted to seal the ice, you really had to have excellent flexibility to get the pad down. So, I couldn't butterfly. I've never been able to butterfly. I have butterfly all day long. I turned my toe over more times than I care to admit, but half butterfly guy was never able to butterfly my whole career. So.
I love it. Oh, that's so cool.
Hey Rick, other than the equipment, what do you think's changed the most in goaltending game all around?
I think there's a size bias. Like I'm 5'10", so I was the average size goalie when I played, and I would not be considered today in today's game unless I had skill set like UC Saros of the Nashville Predators. I think skill trumps everything. So if you got that type of skill, I don't care how big you are, you can play. But there is a size bias, and I scouted, and you look for skill that's 6'2" or better. And if the guy's if he's shorter than 6'2", then he better have some skills to make up for it, i.e. Andrew Hammond. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's basically when I started getting the higher level hockey with playing myself, and I'm a short guy. I'm 5'10" if I'm lucky, and I got told so many numerous times that you're just not tall enough. You just don't cut it unless somehow you can stand out above the others because your skill. And I just obviously wasn't that good, so it kind of sucked. But that's the one thing that in the game. It's like the players, right? The players used to always you had to be big, but it's kind of went small now. So, but the goalies, I don't think that will change.
Yeah. So in goalies doesn't mean you can't play. It makes it tougher to play. If you lack size, bigger guys can make more mistakes and have more and still have the same success as a younger guy that doesn't make as many. But bigger guys cover more net. With the skaters, you used to have strength to get through the hooks and the holds and the punch in the face, and you don't have to do that anymore. So now the smaller skilled players are allowed to play, and to me it's a better game for sure.
Yeah.
Rick, just kind of go into what it was like being drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, and were they talking to you prior to that draft, and what was that whole experience like?
Well, I'm one of the unique guys that was that's the 1979 draft. That's the last time the NHL went back to the 18-year-old draft. That's the year the WHA and the NHL merged. And 2 months, so the draft that year was in August, usually in June. In June of that year, I had my suit and tie on, walking out the door to go meet with the Winnipeg Jets of the WHA. We were going to go sign with them or talk about signing before the draft. And I was walking out the door and the phone rang. This is before cell phone, so the actual phone in the house rang and said, the merger talks are back on, so the meeting's off. And so the two leagues merged. Month and a half later, they had the August draft. They went back to the 18-year-old draft. So that 1979 draft was only 6 rounds. It included draft eligible players were 18, 19, and 20 years old. So there was like basically 3 years of draft eligible picks in there, and I was picked in the 3rd round. And quite frankly, that year it would have been better not to be drafted, because the guys got drafted. There was nowhere else to go. Yet you just you took basically what they offered. I had 3rd round pick, 58th overall, no leverage. Lots of guys that didn't get drafted. A friend of mine was talking to Montreal, Buffalo, Boston, and St. Louis. So, they made the rounds, and he ended up getting more money than I did. So an undrafted player ended up getting a larger signing bonus than I did, and that's kind of just the way it was. So, but it was because of the merger of the 2 leagues. The draft then wasn't like it was now. It was held in Montreal. I got a phone call 2 hours after I got picked. No internet, so don't really know what's going on. Just in my phone waiting for the call. So it was really neat. It was, when you think you got a chance to play and you finally get drafted, it was a good day.
Absolutely.
What were your reactions? Were you a Habs fan or Leafs fan growing up?
Bruins,
really?
Styles almost got it.
Well, I just figured being around here is one of the two. But
well. So Bruins. I was a big Bobby Orr fan. Loved Jerry Cheers. I watched as a young boy for about 6 straight years of Saturday nights. I sat in my grandfather's basement and watched Hockey Night in Canada. He loved the Leafs, and I love the Bruins. So it was really a lot of fun and a cherished time spent with my grandfather watching hockey for sure.
Yeah, you actually went out and played with my old junior B coach, Mr. Dan Daou.
Dan Daou. Yeah.
Dan Daou. Oh, man, I'll tell you, he used to think he could play, buddy. I'll tell you, he'd be in practice. We'd be screwing up a drill. He'd jump in, and it would be just embarrassing. Like, he would just show us it was unbelievable what that man could still do.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What was your time like out in Nova Scotia, Rick?
It was really good. So I was not ready for the NHL. I didn't know if I was able to play in the American League, but Montreal had plans, I was slotted to go there no matter what, especially early. And the American League back then was really good. So the WHA just disbanded. So they had all these WHA type of players in the American League, and the caliber and the quality and the experience of the American Hockey League player that year was through the roof. Like, we played Adirondack won the Calder Cup that year. Yeah. They had Pete Mahovlich on the team. They had Wayne Wood. They had Greg Jolly. These guys were 1st round picks and WHA stars. Their team was loaded. Pete Mahovlich back in '79 was making $200,000 playing the Myers, and let's just say I wasn't.
Yeah,
but you have to play with Guy Lafleur, though.
Yeah,
got right beside him for 3 years.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was gonna ask you what was Guy like in the room and at the arena?
He didn't say much. He's the fastest undresser in the world. If you were lucky enough to be picked for a star in Hockey Night in Canada because of commercials and stuff like that, there's a bit of time before you had to go out and do a little twirl and wave to the fans. By the time you get back in the room, he was showered and gone.
I was in and out. I'm in the room, gone. I was the same way.
I was the exact opposite. It took me forever to get out.
Yeah.
So.
I usually have my skates still on. The arena guys knocking at the door. So
yeah.
Took me forever. He was just a quiet superstar. He just played and scored and did his job. Didn't fancy himself a leader. Didn't lead. Wasn't a vocal leader. That was well taken care of by Bob Gainey and Larry Robinson and early in my career, Montreal, Serge Savard, guys like that. He was just a quiet superstar that skated and scored.
That's wild. What type time in your career was it like, I suppose it's right at the start, but was it kind of like your I made it moment, like you're finally like I finally here, I did it?
It would have been the morning of my let me see. I got called up, played my first game in Quebec City, second game in Montreal against Washington. So the next night we're playing against the New York Rangers, right? So you guys knew where I grew up. So you got a picture a 22-year-old kid, right? So we played Saturday night in Montreal, flew to New York, and no morning skate playing the Rangers that night. So I just get up, kind of get the cobwebs out of I just go for a walk. I'm sitting in Central Park. I grab a paper and just reading the sports section. And I got this feeling. I go, oh my God. I'm in Central Park reading the newspaper and ready to play in Madison Square Gardens against the New York Rangers. And I go, it was like it was a feeling like I was going, wow, I don't belong here. This is so far out of reality for me. Yeah, 4 years earlier, I was delivering ice, Blue Man Ice in Port Dover, and like now I'm sitting and reading the paper in Central Park in New York City. It was an outer body experience for me.
I think New York's a downgrade from Port Dover.
Just a little bigger.
Well, why don't you go for a walk through Powell Park? Tell me what you think.
I was down there. I went down last summer, took a little tour. I was down there for like an hour. I was in and out.
Hey, man, don't say much. Orangeville doesn't have much on Dover, man.
Hey, I don't live there anymore. Shouts to Orangeville.
Here's another Madison Square Garden. Here's another Madison Square Garden Port Dover connection for you. So later in my career, the rare night I'm not playing in Calgary, which is most nights, I'm skating around before warm-ups or after warm-ups for the first period Madison Square Garden. The announcer comes on. He says, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's anthem singer, Rory Dodd. I go, Rory Dodd. So Mrs. Dodd taught music to everybody in Port Dover for 100 years, right? Rory Dodd's her son. Rory Dodd was in the music group Meatloaf. Anyway, he's a Port Dover guy. He grew up 2 blocks from my house in Port Dover. So I skate over to him. I go, what are you doing? Like, what? He looks at me, he goes, wow. So here's 2 kids from Port Dover, right, getting ready to perform on Madison Square Garden. All I was doing then, I was on the bench. We had a couple of beers after the game. It was really cool.
That's
awesome.
A cool story. That is.
Yeah, that's cool. So Rick, it was your first in the Habs, and you won the William M. Jennings Trophy. What was that like for you, and what does it mean to you?
Ask me why that's disappointing.
yeah, very good.
No. Ask me why that's disappointing.
Ask him.
Well, ask him. Why is it disappointing? Why is it?
Because the first year of the Jennings Trophy means myself and Dennis Herron didn't win the Vezina. So the one that's the first year of the William Jennings. I went to the goalies of the team with the lowest goals against, and the Vezina Trophy was now voted by the GMs to be basically the best goalie in the league. But up until that, right, the goalies of the lowest goals against got the Vezina. So for me, I would have rather won the Vezina. So it's kind of a good news
that year.
Well, something to hang your hat on, though.
That's a real good question. I don't know. It might have been Tom Barrasso. I'm not sure. So
he wasn't very good.
No, he wasn't good. especially as an 18-year-old.
What was the media like back then, Rick, in Montreal?
It was fine. They were like, I couldn't speak French, right? Didn't read French, couldn't speak French, so I never got that side of it. So for me, there were many moments or issues where it was like, some guys had it tougher, like Lafleur had it tougher, especially when the year before his trade to St. Louis wasn't a great year. after Bowman left and Grumman was fired, and they traded Langway and traded Engblom, and the trade with Washington, things were going south. Dryden retired. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on, and a little dicey then, but it can be tough. It's very competitive. Everybody's trying to outscoop everybody, but on the whole, pretty fair. Especially the English guys. So.
That's good.
Played with Matt Naslin when he's a rookie.
Oh.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Shit, sorry, Walks. Go ahead, Walks.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you played with Matt Naslin when he played with Matt Naslin when he's a rookie. Did you know the kid was gonna kind of be special and pretty successful?
My favorite memory of Matt's Naslin was in training camp. So it's a four-team scrimmage, basically. Matt's Naslin's on my team, thank God, because he got on the ice, he got the puck, and he was gone. He went through everybody. He must have scored 12 goals in training camp and scrimmages. And all I can remember is the one time he picked the puck up. At the other end of the ice is Dennis Herron playing goal for the other team. He's just yelling, "Hit him! Hit him! Hit him!" Nobody could catch him. He was just like a real little guy, but he was built like a fire hydrant. He had obvious skill, and he could score, and he was a handful to handle for sure.
He played a lot of hockey, man.
He did.
Place that guy. Yeah. He's unbelievable. Well traveled.
Yeah.
Do you know I actually really wanted to just quickly touch on was Joe Mullen. Now that we're on subject of good players. How good was Joe Mullen? Like, that's a name when guys talk about the really good hockey players, never comes up in conversation. But every time I've talked to somebody who's either come across his path or watched him play, they say this guy was so good and he was a leader.
He was Mully, small body, didn't work out, not a great skater.
Hey, there's a guy like that just put up 900 points in Phoenix.
You just score from anyone. There are guys that would spend hours on their sticks, rasping and torching and changing the lie and getting it just right. And Mully would just look at it, stick in the rack, and just
this works.
Just give me one. Put a little bit of tape on it, flex it once, and go out and play.
Jesus, I love that.
He could really score. He was a really, really good player. So,
speaking of good players, Rick, you got to play against the great one for the majority of your career. What was it like having Wayne coming down on you? And did you ever get a read on what he was going to do?
Well, he's famous for the goal they used to show on Hockey Night in Canada all the time, where he comes down the left wing and blows it by Bernie's glove on the glove side. It's the opening Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah,
he would do that all the time. No, he would come down the left wing, but what he would do is he would him and the puck are traveling the same speed. He would pull the stick back and he would pause. So now he's gliding and the puck's gliding the same. But as a goalie, your tendency is you want to kind of lean into it a little bit towards your blocker side, and he would just sense that, and he would just pound it by your glove. So if you could show enough patience and just wait for it, and it's a lot easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If you just wait for it, he'd put it in your glove 9 times out of 10. But if you lean too far, got too far ahead of yourself, he would sense that and just blow it by you. Like he was, but you knew it was coming, and sometimes you just couldn't do anything about it.
How much better, what they talk about, like the point, how his greatness and how good he was, you played against him. How great, this sounds so stupid. How great was he? You get what I'm getting at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know better way to ask it.
Well, because he knows where everybody is on the ice, including you, his teammates, and more importantly, where all the defenders are. He just knows where they are. So if you overplay him, right, he just passes to the open guy, or he'll pass and you go, who's that going to? And boom, it's in the net. So he was so good, you couldn't overplay him, so you underplay him, then he shoots it by you. So I mean, he could just do whatever he wanted out there. Nobody, you couldn't hit him, right? And if you touched him, Semenko would come talk to you. So rarely did he put himself in a position to really get hit, but he always had the puck. He didn't have a great shot, but he always scored. His vision and the use of other players was out of this world. Like it's I don't know. I guess they call it talent, but it just because of he was so good at whatever you did, right? He sensed it and did the opposite to hurt you. That's a sign of a true player.
It's crazy.
Rick, who's your personal nemesis? Who's the guy that just had your number?
The Islanders had my number. Couldn't I think personal record against them was 2-12. So then that was that's Bossy, Trottier, and all those guys. So Mike Bossy, I just felt like getting out of the way, just shoot him in that Mike and get it over with.
I thought he was going to say Tony Tanny. I literally thought that was what he was going to say.
What's wrong with you?
There's a lot wrong with me.
What's wrong with you?
We ask him that lots.
I have to make this entertaining, okay? I gotta leave this shit. I'm doing what I can.
What does Tony Tanny get in this conversation?
I didn't like that name though. There you go.
How was it having Al McInnes lay some clappers on you in practice?
Well, we had a firm understanding. He was not allowed to hit me.
Was it? Yeah.
You either score a shot or why. I said, Al, I have no interest in stopping you every day. I'm going to tell you right now. I want no part of it. So please don't hit me. So
I'm assuming that was the sentiment around the league.
Well, playing for St. Louis against Calgary, Al comes down the right wing really deep. He's got nothing going on, so he decides to unload one from the boards almost below the hash mark, and it's a full slapper, and I'm hugging the post, and it's coming right at my chest. And my first thought was to get out of the way because and I didn't want to bring my hands up because you don't want to open things up. So I'll just absorb this, and I thought it went right through me. It hit me so hard. So and it left a nice mark. Let me tell you.
There's so many guys that you got to play with. But personally, I know the boys want to hear about the obviously your Stanley Cup winning season. Talk about what a special group that was and how that kind of came to be. And when the beginning of the season started, did you guys had a feeling that this is the year we got this?
There was a huge disappointment from the year before. The year before, they made the Brett Hull trade for myself and Ramage, and we come in and get beat out in the first round against Edmonton. So tremendous disappointment, right? And then the whole off season and training camp was all about cutting the goals against down. In 87, 88, we were 14th in the league and in goals against, ended up 14th, and then 88, 89, the year we won it, we were second, and we missed first by 3 goals or something like that. Wow. So there was a real emphasis on keeping the puck out of our net, but there's also a real sense that if we did that, we'd have a real good chance to win. And that team could not play for 2 periods, decide to pick it up for 2, and win the game in the third. That team, if you wanted to play tough, we could play it tough. That team, if you wanted to try and outskate us and outchance you, we'd kill you. And we could play it any way you wanted to play. And if we didn't really have it going, no big deal. We just get it going enough to win games and get us through. And then in the playoffs, once we got by Vancouver, it was almost clear sailing. It was, and getting by Vancouver in overtime of Game 7. After that, that was the toughest series for sure.
Then what was it? Montreal you ended up beating in the finals?
Beat them in 6. Yeah.
What was that like, beating your old team that traded you away?
Well, it would have been better if I was playing, but
yeah,
it was. We were down 2-1 in the series, and won 3 straight, and the only team to win the cup, only visiting team to win the cup in Montreal. So that's kind of special.
That's
won the cup on my birthday. That was kind of neat.
That's cool. That's a nice present.
That's a nice present, and
it was very good present.
It was special. It was two Canadian teams going at it, and it was good for hockey, good for the game, good for the Flames, and it was time for that team to win, and we got it done. So.
Theo Fleury's rookie year, wasn't it?
Theo Fleury came up halfway through the year, and he was our fourth line right winger. That's how good we were.
Oh, Jesus.
36, 34 points, 36 games as a fourth liner. No big deal.
Pretty good fourth line.
Yeah, not bad at all. Hey, Rick, so I was talking to your sister-in-law, Susie, and I was trying to get some stories out of her and the boys. And the one that they really came up with and decided that you tell really well is the story about the Stanley Cup photo.
I'm not in it.
No way.
Not in it. So you got to remember what era we're talking about here. So that the tradition now is take the picture on the ice. Right?
Yeah.
That tradition started the year before. The Oilers did it the year before. That's the first time they did it. And then so the year we won it was basically year two, and really wasn't. No one talked about it. Like no one talked about who was getting the cup second, right?
Yeah.
No, we didn't. I don't know if we didn't want to jinx ourselves or anything, but there was no talk before the game. What are we going to do if we win it? So I had played 20 minutes in 2 months, all right? And I had skate bites so bad. My feet hurt so much that I just wanted to get on the ice, hug Vernie, rub some guys' heads, lift the cup, say thank God, get off the ice and get my feet hurt so much. While I'm in the dressing room, the TVs are on. I see the boys getting ready for the pitcher, and I go, "Oh no!" So the other guy that's not out there is Joel Otto. Him and I are looking at each other, going, "Oh no, it's a bad one." There must have been 1,000 people from our dressing room to the. There's no way we're getting back on the ice. No way. So that one to miss.
That is good.
I love
it. Yeah, that at least got the ring though. You passed that around in the Dover alumni game, and I was on your team there. And that's a pretty snazzy ring you got there. Yeah,
that's why you play, and I'm thankful for a lot of my teammates for the ring, and it's a cherished item for sure.
Absolutely.
Rick, you got to play a lot of years with Dougie Gilmore. How is he kind of as a person, and do you still keep up with him today at all?
Yeah, we talk not on a regular basis, but more times than not. Dougie was I played with him in St. Louis, Calgary, and obviously part of the Toronto trade that brought him here and turned things around for the Leafs in 92, 93. Leader, right? Like in Calgary, I don't think we win if he's not there. He was kind of the difference maker, like kind of made the team go, right? And and then when he got traded to Toronto, I mean, what a run he had there to take the Leafs. When I got traded to Toronto on January 2nd, right? Looked in the paper, the Leafs had 10 wins. 10 wins.
Jesus.
10. I go, oh my, 10. Like I knew it was bad, but it was 10. January 2nd. Played for 3 months. 10 months.
Oh.
And then so we almost made the playoffs that year, if you remember. And then the next year was just magical. And Dougie was he was a leader for sure on that team.
That's awesome. And obviously you retire. You decide you're gonna walk away, but you stayed on as a goalie consultant, which is great with the Leafs. And then you jumped to assistant coach, and this is where I get excited being a coach. Is you got to work under Pat Burns. Talk about your transition into a coach. and what kind of that meant to work for Mr. Burns.
And also, and was he bitter that you beat him in the cup finals there?
No, he's not bitter. No, he was. I mean, everybody's really respectful and understands how hard it works. As long as you're not an idiot about it, you know what I mean? As long as you don't go, hey, Bernie, and stuff like that. But he was obviously he was a good coach, and history will define him as a good coach. But he was really, what I learned from him was how simple the game was to him. So I worked either goalie coach or assistant coach under Pat for 4 years. We did 18 drills in 4 years. That's it. I mean, it's like Groundhog's Day every day. Like he didn't want to spend time on different drills. Didn't want to, get in players' minds too much. He had a great sense of who was going and who wasn't. And if you weren't going, you didn't play. It was that simple. And once everybody understood that, the team generally played well. But it was really a simple game plan, and that was about it. So it was fun for me as the first NHL coach I worked under, how simple the game was to him.
Do you think that kind of coaching would work like in this day and age?
Yes. We can complicate the game. You can complicate the game. And if you give the players too many thoughts, then really what is your game plan? So you got to be careful. But I mean, there's give and take. I mean, I think the players of today have a little softer makeup than players of yesteryear, just the way they were brought up, the way things have gone. That's the way the game's kind of gone. Society's kind of gone. Everything's a little softer. Everything's a little more tolerant. So it would be harder for that coach to be successful today, but there'd be elements of what that coach did back then that would also work today for sure.
Styles frozen.
I don't know. Styles the internet.
What's that? No.
Yeah.
Well, there he is. He's
I was waiting for you.
practicing his pose. He's just practicing.
I'm hearing this
I
lag.
thought
Just keep cutting off walk. I'm making sure I don't cut him off again. Well, though, once. Transition. Yeah, how do you find the transition playing the coach?
Well, depends on where you are in your career. I wasn't playing much. In the bigger picture, I probably went a year too early. What would have been better. Oh, I got a little battery here. Still got me?
Yeah, we're still here. You're good.
All right. So I'm okay. So if I cut out, you know what? My battery's done.
Yeah.
But when I look back at the decision to retire and become a coach, that offer was there. I talked to Cliff beforehand about he wanted me to stay on with the team, be the goalie coach. I wasn't playing. I was frustrated about not playing. Probably maybe should have went to the American League and played a little bit, see if I get it back going again. But I'd moved around enough, was established in Oakville, wanted to stay there, so that decision was made. But it's the closest thing to playing. It's the closest thing to being a player. Being on the bench. Once you get on the bench, that's the closest thing to being a player. So that's kind of where you want to be and get to. And the more decisions you make during the game, i.e. versus a head coach versus an assistant coach versus the eye in the sky, the more you're able to give players information, the closer you are to them, i.e. on the bench or eye in the sky, that's the next best thing to playing.
So now you're a goalie coach in Columbus, and I've always been intrigued with the goalie coach, head coach relationship. Now you're not an assistant coach, so it's a little bit different, but what's the expectations from the head coach to have the goalies prepared, and what's the conversation like with the head coach when they're struggling?
Well, they're not happy. So you're just a lot of your job is to be the buffer. Like the coach is upset with the goaltending, right? So they yell at you. So you're the buffer, so they don't yell at the goalie. You deflect and you absorb some of the criticism, and then in saner moments you try to point out. To me, if it's a bad goal, you have to say that. Yes, you're correct. That's a bad goal. That shouldn't go in, right? If you try to try to sugarcoat a bad goal into something else, that's where you get in trouble as a position coach, which goalie coaches they're position coaches. But you just try to work with your goalies, and if the coach is really upset and wants a message sent, then you gotta send the same message, not make it up or make it better or worse than it is. But the expectation is that you'll get the goaltending going. If it's not going, you got to have reasons why. If you want to change, get the number one guy out of there, you got to have reasons why. And if he needs a rest or whatnot. So it's ever evolving relationship on a daily basis, depending on how it's going. Right. The best scenario is you don't ever talk to the head coach. That means the goaltending is really good.
Makes sense.
Rick, you got your first head coaching gig in a city where I went to school. How different was it being a head coach versus being an assistant coach or a goalie coach?
Well, it's really
and can you tell us anything new?
It was tough. It basically got fired in St. Louis, and okay, you can go to Peoria and coach there. Oh, great. So it was. I really was thankful for the opportunity to be the head guy, because you always think as assistant you can be the head guy. Oh, that looks easy. This looks easy, but when you got to walk in the head coach's shoes and make those decisions, you really understand what the head guy's going through. So I was thankful for the opportunity and thought we did okay. And I was only there 40 games, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
And what did you think of the city of Peoria?
I didn't mind it.
Is there anything good you can tell us?
Yeah.
Same bars. So the same bars are there now that we're back probably when you played there or went to school there. So, Peoria's a tough town. It's got hit hard by economically with, I think, Caterpillar's a big employer there, and they were going through some tough times, whatnot, but good rink downtown, no problem. Good fans, loyal. So, okay.
Nice. Is there any goalie coaches in the NHL, kind of like the head coaches that have never played the game but are a goalie coach?
Lots of guys. Mitch, some of the better ones. Mitch Korn never played. He drove the Zamboni for. Yeah. Mitch Korn never played. So when I say play, I don't mean they were never not a goalie, but I don't believe they played at a higher level, major junior college or anything like, NC Division I. Mitch Korn comes to mind. I think Dave Pryor who used to be in Vegas, had a long run in Washington. I don't believe he played at a high level. So there are guys that haven't played.
Okay.
Yeah, it's similar to like a Daryl Belfry type guy who, they've really invested their time into the skill, and that's all, and that's what they know, and that's what they're going to try to teach everybody. And if you're affected at it, you're going to have a job. It's just how would a guy like that get respect? They always talk about that in hockey. It's really tough if you've never played, that they don't give you a ton of respect. How do you earn that respect as a non-NHL or a non-pro?
Well, you earn it. So where you have to find a place where you can earn it. So that's at a lower level. So is that junior B? Is that tier 2A? Is that junior A? Is that major A? You got to find it somewhere, right, to get the respect. And then once somebody recognize your ability to coach and they pass that along, you should give this guy a try. Well, then, so if you move up a level, it starts all over again. So you just keep earning respect, and all of a sudden one day you're in the best league in the world, and you've climbed the ladder to get there in the right way. And those guys have to do that.
Was there ever a kid that you maybe taught or scouted or anything that you kind of thought like this kid's gonna do well but never really got the shot?
Well, Matt O'Connor would be the most recent one in Ottawa. He almost made the team out of training camp, and then we sent him down, and it was like he forgot everything.
Really?
Forgot everything, and just like he was really good, then not so good. And never got it back. So that's the most recent one. So
that's crazy.
It does happen.
Yeah. I think it's probably a lot to do with confidence, maybe too, a little bit.
To me, confidence, that's a fallback. What's confidence?
Thank you. Finally.
So, one day you're looking at this guy and he's playing well, he's practicing well, he's you've worked on things, he can make saves, he plays an NHL exhibition game, he wins it. We play him in a tough game in the NHL. We have injuries. We lose 3-1 empty net. He plays, but he played well. When you send him down, you should be going down with tons of confidence.
Yeah.
He goes to the American League and he lets in 10. So I mean, I don't.
When you're watching some of these broadcasts and they're talking, and these guys are talking like, "Oh, he's lost his confidence." That drives me up the wall. These guys are confident. They play in the NHL. There's confidence. There's execution.
There is, but there are times when you're not caught. You don't have it, right?
Yeah.
So you learn how to dig down, and you don't fake it, but you really got to find a way to keep the puck out of the net or get hit, and those are usually ugly games, right? So like when you're confident, you're free flowing, things are coming to you, and it's just a little more harder work when the confidence goes a little bit, but it's not a confidence comes from you, I think. It comes from within.
So Rick, there's 3 names on the wall in the Port Dover Arena: yourself, Red Kelly, and Jason Cullimore. Is there anybody that comes to mind who was a solid hockey player out of Dover that maybe didn't quite get the recognition that they should have?
That I played with? Or
I was just going to say, are you trying to get him to say Adam Styles? Are we trying a campaign to get his name on the wall? Is that what's going on? No, it's not on my watch.
See, I don't know. So once I left Dover, like in grade 9, I basically never went back. So I'm kind of out of the community. I mean, I talk to my friends and whatnot, but I'm really kind of out of the loop on who might have had a chance, and for whatever reason it didn't happen. So I might be a bad guy to ask, but just getting back to those names, to be on the wall, be on any wall with Red Kelly, is quite an honor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Rick, quickly I want to touch. You founded the Rick Wamsley Golf Classic, which I believe later became the Norfolk Pro. Whatever happened to that golf tournament?
Well, I did it for 25 years, and there just became a time when it was enough. It was enough for me. It was enough for the sponsors. It was enough. It just seemed like it was enough. You're going back to the same people all the time, small town, all that kind of stuff. It just 25 years seemed to be a really good number to say this is it. And, we could walk away and be pretty proud of what we did and the money we raised. And we're still getting no money today from the work of those 25 years. So pretty proud of that group and what we've accomplished, but it was time to call it a day.
Yeah. Well, Rick, listen, I can tell you that it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We're really happy that we're going to get to air this on Rogers TV Channel 20 on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Rick, any advice maybe for some of the new kids coming up, especially? Oh, I almost forgot. U18s, congratulations, Team Canada, on winning the championship. Coached 3 of those kids in spring on Team Canada, which was obviously a phenomenal team. We kicked everyone's butt. So glad to see those boys win some games. That Connor Bedard's going to be a hell of a hockey player.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rick, did you get to actually catch any of the U18s at all? Now that I'm thinking about it,
I think a little, like half a game semifinals, I think. So.
Oh, yeah, there we got some special kids coming through, and again, we're hoping to see him in the big show one day. But again, thanks again to Rick Wamsley for joining the Off the Puck show. You can catch Off the Puck Hockey every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Rogers TV Channel 20. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at Off the Puck Hockey. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and with me as always, my co-host Adam Stiles and Mike Walker, our producer Matt Huddle behind the scenes, always making magic, and obviously Marty Zylstra, the theme music. doing a great job, was on CBC once again last weekend, Hockey Night in Canada. Congratulations, Marty. This is Off the Puck Hockey. Hopefully our guest can hang around with us for a few minutes. Let's go.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Make sure to check out our past shows from previous weeks on our YouTube, Facebook, or Mixcloud channels. You can always catch up on podcasts while checking out our FHN Network channel on YouTube or Facebook. Or you can listen to an audio copy of our past shows on our Mixcloud channel at FHN_Network. The FHN Network, the future of entertainment.